Well, hello, America and around the world, guys. I missed you. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Welcome to another episode of The Big Show. It's The Big Show's 40th episode so far. That's right. So Dwayne and I have been in the cut entertaining you guys for a very long time now, and we're happy to do it. The Big Show is a podcast hosted by myself. My name is Jimmy Smith. Alongside of me, as always, good friend of mine and the author of Pissed Off Parent, Dwayne Ward. Dwayne's got a brand new graphic tee today. I'm sure we'll uncover that in a little bit. Before we do, let me just go ahead and remind all the brand new viewers what The Big Show is all about. Guys, The Big Show is basically a podcast where we just discuss modern day issues like men's health. We discuss masculinity. We discuss the hard truth about dating. We give overall life advice, and we just basically what makes a man a man. So let's go ahead and get started without any further ado. Dwayne, we missed last week. Wasn't your fault. My fault. I had a trip booked to Orlando. I flew out to Orlando and completely just messed up the entire show. I had a 4-hour layover on my airplane. So things did not go according to plan last week. I was stuck in a terminal for 4 hours more than I expected to. So threw a monkey wrench. Hopefully, you guys didn't miss us too bad. But before we get started, Dwayne, can we go ahead and see what you're wearing today? Like, what are we working with here?
Well, yeah, actually, Brandon, you got this for me. I don't know if that's probably backwards.
I work hard so my Mustang can have a better life. Okay, I got it. Hey, that's very suiting. For those of you who do not know, Dwayne has had a lifelong dream of his. Actually, a lot of men have this dream of like working with their father, working with their kids, working with their friends on rebuilding a hot rod or something of that nature. And Dwayne, he'll tell you himself, he's had this dream of specifically a Mustang, right?
Yeah, Mustang. Yeah, my first car was a '68 Mustang, and got the fever there. And I think ever since then, I've had a lifelong dream of wanting to bring a roller in the garage with my kids and rebuild it and all that, which is funny because, it says why men are able to express their feelings. That's the topic of tonight's show. It's like, this is kind of the inverse opposite of that. Cause I get emotional even thinking about it. Cause, pulling in a roller and then, turning some wrenches with the boys, my youngest, he was 17 now. It's, when I say youngest, it's kind of hard to say, 17-year-old being your youngest. He actually has turned some wrenches with me, which it's been awesome. It's been a wonderful experience. I can't wait to do more of that stuff with them. But yeah, that's, it's been a lifelong dream of mine to do that. And, to give some kudos to Mr. Eric Carroll, the big guy for Dad Talk Today. He assisted greatly in making that happen, forever in his debt. But yeah, it's been a wonderful experience so far. Through the cussing. I'll just,
I feel special myself because I was there at the inception of that deal going down.
Yeah.
And I would be honest with you. When you asked me for my advice, I actually advised you to not get the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will be more than happy to eat my words if this is a successful endeavor for you. I just know. Well, I mean, I watched you hobble around with a bad hip for like 4 or 5 days. You stepped in a freaking hole. I'm surprised you didn't re-injure your leg or whatever. And So I was looking after you going, hey, how are you going to get down?
You're 51. You're
Under
bad health.
I mean, are you sure you're not biting off more than you can chew? And plus, these endeavors, man, they're not cheap.
Oh no, yeah, I've spent some money, but no, I'll be honest with you. There have been a few times I've been underneath that car on the creeper, and I'm going, maybe Jimmy was right. Maybe I do. Or I'll find a new piece of rust and go, ooh, I did not expect to see that there,
Right.
But
and for the record, I want you to know, I absolutely hope that I'm wrong. I hope you have a great time. I hope that you have the time of your life with your kids, and you guys look back on this years from now and say, I'm so happy that I did it, and I cannot wait for the end result. So I'm although I was against it, you chose it. I support your decision. Just don't disappoint us. Follow through with this sucker, man, all the way to the end.
Brandy won't let me because she has lost her garage because it's not, in the garage now, being worked on, and that was where she got to keep her car, and now she's like, we're gonna get this thing done record time. Oh, she's very, and the thing, she's very supportive. She's like, get your ass out there, get your grinder out and start grinding down some metal because I want my car spot back. So
yeah,
good.
Yeah, cool. So you get in the Christmas spirit?
I'm getting there slow but surely as the years go on. It gets a little more difficult as time goes on. This time of year, different things have happened in my life to where you remember back and you want to remember the good times, but you also remember the bad times.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as getting in the Christmas spirit of things, I'm trying my best.
It's a tough time of year, man. It's a tough time of year, not only for you, but for a lot of people, because, a lot of bad things have happened to people during this time of year. People passing away. And I don't mean to poke a, sore spot on your body, but just because you and I are so transparent with everybody, whenever we were together at Eric's a couple weeks back, we were literally in deer stands when you got the unfortunate text message that my older brother,
yes,
your older brother had just passed.
Yeah.
How are you doing with that, if you don't mind me asking?
It was one of those hanging in there. Full disclosure, my brother and I did not have the best of relationships. When you look at the things that we deal with on the day-to-day here and the Dad Talk Today world and all that, he and I definitely had a falling out. I want to say maybe about 20 years ago, a series of falling out, and we actually hadn't spoke for that amount of time. So, I did the town I grew up in is a very small knit town, and so people, reached out to me, and I was in a deer stand, hoping to pop Bambi, and that's when I got the news that he had passed away, and then of course, dealing with all the eventualities and all that stuff, But you gotta be a man. You gotta suck it up and get business taken care of. And that's part of being a man.
It is, man, and we're going to talk about that today. With today's topic, it's one that it has always been the ironic thing about being a man is that we have we're human. We have all the feelings as women do. We're not different. We're still human beings. Yeah. But women expressing their feelings and men expressing their feelings are taken completely different.
Mm-hmm.
They're looked at different. They're we grow little girls up to be different than we grow little boys up to be, and it's ingrained in our culture.
Well, dude, if you would have started crying over something, people would look at a guy differently. But if a girl breaks down crying, all the white knights and everybody runs out to them. What can we do to help you? They get tons of support. They get everything. If a guy shows any kind of emotion, we're looked at as weak.
Yeah.
Can you imagine on the battlefield, a guy breaking down crying in the middle of the war? You think everyone's going to stop and go, "Oh, poor you, let me get you a pamphlet"?
And it's understandable too. Although it sucks to say, the truth is that if we were on the battlefield and we had three people, as you and I and another guy, and that other guy broke down and started crying, you and I know that the chances of us making it out has just diminished.
Oh yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah, we've got to be strong to get the job done.
So it's just one of those things. And this time of year, like I said, it's tough for a lot of people. It's my favorite time of the year. Christmas is my favorite holiday. I love seeing the Christmas lights up. I love seeing some people happy. I love
Potential for hope.
Potential for hope. You know, a new year coming by. You're closing a chapter on, you know, sometimes an awful year, sometimes an year, but
Yeah.
you know, you're always hopeful for the new year. And right before we jumped on to the podcast and went live, right before you and I were talking on the StreamYard here, I'm sitting in my office right here, kind of getting the lights going or whatever, and I hear what seems to be like some sirens outside, and you don't really hear sirens in this neighborhood. And so I look outside, and this is what I see.
Oh,
Well,
actually, that's cool.
Yeah, it's the fire department here with Santa on the back, and you have you can't see all the kids in transit, but they're all on their bicycles. They're all running down the street after them. There's a little police. There's police cars behind the fire department, honking their horns, doing their sirens, and I just kind of stood out there in my doorway watching, you know, the gleam in these kids' eye, and the parents, you know, happy that their kids are happy, and you know, it gives like a new hope, you know, I suppose. But yeah, it's a great time of year. I just wish it didn't get dark so soon, you know.
When it gets dark at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, depression kicks in. When I lived in Michigan, we were on just the beginning part of daylight or Eastern time zone rather, and it would get dark at a weird time. Later, but in other places I've been at, it would get dark super early, like when you go a little bit more west. Yeah. And that period of time, well, actually in Michigan, because you were locked into your house, a lot of depression. I mean, when you're not able to get out of the house, when it's just gloomy and dark and everything, it's a horrible time, especially when you're going through a lot of the things that our guys and gals here on the podcast have dealt with. It's a polarizing time because you remember. I mean, I know I don't want to name names, but I can name a number of people off the top of my head that like they spent their first Christmas without their kids. Right. It's a horrible time. I've had deaths in the family around this time or other events. I still remember my first Christmas post divorce, but that's where you have to like kind of dig down and figure out how do you make things positive. I actually still have a picture of a Christmas tree that I bought to put in my new residence, and my youngest son had made me a little thing that had ward on it, and that was our only ornament because my ex-wife kept all the Christmas ornaments. But looking for the positive, trying to do that. Yeah.
And I mean, to the point where you just said like a lot of people are not able to see their kids or things like that. One of our avid listeners, Jeff Redman. Yeah.
Redman. Okay. Oh.
He mentioned today it's hard for him to be in the holiday spirit because he's not able to see his kids too. So, Jeff, hang in there, my friend. I don't know what to say. It's a heartbreaker to hear that you're going through that. I know a lot of men out there are, and women as well. But for all of you guys who are, not as happy as you would want to be because you can't be around those that you love, or even worse, if you lost those that you love, my heart breaks for you. Just hang in there. We're all in this together. And I wish you guys the best. God bless you all. I care for you. Dwayne cares for you, and you're not alone. Jump on
the support group.
Yeah, jump on that Dad Talk Today support group. Did you see the one today, dude? No, you know what? You did see the one today because you texted me about it. You guys need to go and look at that shitstorm of a post that some anonymous guy wrote on the Dad Talk Today support group, and it oh my God, I'm getting fired up. I'm getting fired up.
I told the guy we're going to bring it up on the show.
Oh, did you? I didn't even see that.
Oh, in that post, I'm like, dude, what you're talking? This needs to be brought up on the show because, oh my God! But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. It was mind blowing.
Sophie's asking for the link. It's Dad Talk Today Facebook, right?
Yeah, support the support group. Yeah. Let me see if I can add that in.
Can you pull it up and show them? If it's going to take you a long time, no big deal. I'm totally threw this on you at the last.
Yeah, I should be able to find it real quick. Support group.
You guys have to see what this guy's going through, and I want to hear what you think in the comments section. Because when I read it, I was like, oh, hell to the MF and no.
That was
Absolutely
my response.
And it's amazing what spouses will try to pull on each other. This is some bullshit right here.
Oh God, yeah, it was something else. Let's see, where is it? It's okay. Come on, it was just yesterday. Come on. I know you swear I knew something about technology here.
I'm gonna get this.
If you can find it quicker than me, please.
Right now, freaking doing it.
Yeah, you'll probably find it quicker than I will.
We are live on air, and you are taking.
I know, and I'm sitting there yakking, can't find anything. But this was just one of those. I'm going to be honest. Initially, I thought it was a not a spam, but just a like a fake account, or they're trying to get just. But the guy was, after we kind of dove into it, he seemed sincere. Why is this not showing up?
I've got a support group pulled up.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those weird
ones. I'm just trying to find the.
Let's see here. I know that. I should be able to find it here. Well, to kind of talk about it a little bit, the guy is divorced, or I'm sorry, he's married. His ex-wife is spending the night over at her ex-husband's house. Because they want to help the kids out and see the ex-parents together.
So this guy's married to his wife. His wife is sleeping overnight at her ex-husband's house, and she's saying because it helps the kids see mommy and daddy together, but she claims nothing's happening. And then she came home the other day wearing the pajamas of the her ex-husband, because she spilled something on her clothes.
Oh,
remember that?
Yeah. And, oh my God.
Like wow, holy! And there was like 211 comments, and people were like, everyone was chiming in on this one.
Yeah, it's certainly.
I don't know why.
It's like an important one's not popping up here. I'm just sitting there scrolling through. I've done the most recent ones, and this is one of the reasons why we keep the Dad Talk Today support group only down to help people versus, sign my pledge. I need a GoFundMe and all that, is because we want these situations, people to be able to respond to those. I'm trying to find. It's almost like it disappeared.
Yeah, I can't find it either. But yeah,
it's like gone.
I mean, guys, like what in the world? And what can this guy do? I mean, he can yell at his wife. He can tell her no. She's still doing it. Like, this woman is staying the night at her ex-husband's house doing sleepovers.
I know.
You know what? He should pack her shit and have it out on the front yard when she gets home. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Dwayne, I got something for you.
Oh my God. I cannot believe drinking out of a cow mug. Woo! Oh God. Yeah,
I'm gonna buy you one.
No, Brandy's already got a couple of them. I think she got the entire set. Yeah, but anyway, I'd love to hear what people thought of it. I mean, my response, having dealt with this, is it was so disrespectful that he would write this. I guess this post is just gone. Maybe they deleted it. I'm an admin. Sophie
literally said the same thing you just said. She posted right when you said disrespectful.
Yeah, it was completely. I mean, so again, for those that are kind of tuning in, so he's married. His wife is spending the night over at her ex-husband's house. Yep. She's given this story about that, and I was just appalled that it would even be suggested. That part was one of those, are you kidding me?
And can you imagine if the tables were turned, and the husband says, "Hey, I'm going to go over to my ex-wife's house and stay the night because the kids love seeing mommy and daddy together," and then he comes home like with a different shirt on or something because he spilled juice on his other shirt. Man, the women would rip this guy a new one.
Rightly so. It is something. It's like that post is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like somebody somehow deleted it. It's so weird. It's so weird that happened because I'm looking at comments, and it's just nowhere to be found. That's good old Facebook.
Do you want to move on and you want to talk
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah, we can talk about the mug. Oh my God.
Well, yeah, we already got this. Honestly, her comment's only one that really matters. I mean,
Oh God. Oh yeah.
She literally has the same cup.
She has it. Yeah, I screenshotted that, sent it to her, and then she comes up with the mug, and she has the whole set. She just, oh God. I can't get away with it. Anyway, yes.
Well, let's jump into it. You know, we caught up as friends, I guess, good enough. But today's episode, I don't know what is today's episode on. Why men are unable to express their feelings. So,
yes.
You know, I do get asked this question from time to time. I got asked to do a segment on this a few months ago, and I just kind of put it off and decided, okay, well, let's kind of talk about it. You know, I whenever I talk to females and do counseling with females. I ask them often, what kind of man do you want? And they will rattle off the kind of man that they want, right? And when it comes to interpersonal traits of a man, it's not uncommon for me to hear that she wants a gentle,
no, they don't.
Vulnerable, expressive with his feelings, in touch, in tune. What's the word they say a lot? Emotionally intelligent?
Simp?
That's what we call them. But, you know, have a high EQ, have a high emotional intelligence is what I hear a lot.
Okay.
So when I ask them to define what that means in a man, they basically, not all women, but a lot of women,
a good number,
enough for me to mention it, want some sort of emotional vulnerability from their man. And what I have seen and what men have seen from years and decades of doing this is that is the exact opposite of what they want. Because as soon as a man shows some sort of vulnerable energy or vulnerability, she starts to lose respect for him.
Immediately.
And when a woman loses respect for you,
it's over.
Love.
Yep.
A man doesn't necessarily need to respect his woman to love her. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of us who have been in relationships with women that we do not respect, but we love her.
Yeah.
But if a woman does not respect her husband or her man, her boyfriend, she does not love him. It's over.
Right.
So then the conversation starts to flow to, after I give my reasons, my pushbacks. He said, well, why don't men express their feelings? And I go on this long, because don't get me started. I'll never shut up. But, you know, on this long thing. So what I want to do today is I want to reconfirm to the men who already kind of probably know this, and maybe educate a little bit, with all respect, educate a little bit to the women who are a little bit unsure of why men in this world do not express their feelings. You know, in modern society, it's common observation that men tend to not express their emotions as openly or as frequently as women do. And this disparity in emotional expression is not merely a matter of like individual personality, but it's what we said. It's deeply intertwined with societal norms, psychological influences over years, decades, hundreds of years. And the way, just coming out and say it, the way that boys are brought up.
Right.
Boys are raised and brought up different than little girls are. It's an issue that demands attention as it directly impacts the mental health and overall well-being of men today. We are seeing more men express their feelings than we have in our generations before. And there is no stat, no piece of data, and I doubt any of us will sit back and say that we're better for it.
Yeah, no, we're not.
We are worse for it. You know, I'm going to share quickly why I believe that so many men are having a hard time in today's world. And I'm referring to the last 25 years, especially.
Hmm.
I'm going to say, I'm gonna preface
As
this.
you drink your cow from your cow cup.
I'm gonna say that I am not 100% sure,
Right.
as I don't have children of my own, but looking out from the outside in, okay.
Right.
If I was a father, and this is also how I feel for all the other mothers and fathers out there, I feel that as a mother and a father, it is our duty, responsibility to make sure that our children are prepared for the world that they're going to enter.
Right.
And not only prepared for it, but here's where we miss it. I believe that we must prepare them for the level of storm that they're going to have to endure.
Right.
And so if it's not so bad out there and they can play on normal mode, then we prepare them normally. If it's super hard out there, then we have to prepare them for hard mode.
Yeah.
And what I feel is happening is that when you take fathers out of the household,
Which we've done,
which is what we've done over the last 40 years, there's no denying that stat. That's easily found, that stat.
right.
What you take away is you take away the structure and the discipline. You take away the fall in line due to fear type of thing. Because human beings, they are in pursuit of one or two things, Dwayne. Humans are either in the pursuit of pleasure or they're in the avoidance of pain.
Right.
It's the only reason why I
Sometimes both.
at the same time. It's the only reason why we stop at red lights. If there was no repercussions for stopping at a red light, we blow right through it, right?
Right.
We are in fear of not only getting a ticket, but also getting into a car accident, hurting ourselves or hurting someone else. That fear of pain, if you will, makes us comply to stopping at a red light and following the laws for the most part. When a father's in the house and he puts his hand on that ass, the next time he raises his voice, you are in fear of him getting to the point where he has to put his hand on your rear end again, and you will fall into line. I know a lot of women try to play that role, but they never are able to play the role as well as a man can play the role. We've seen video after video after video of the mom yelling and yelling. And then what does she have to do? Women have to elicit the strength of a man to make other, especially men or boys in this case, fall in line, right? Mm-hmm. So she says to him, you better act up, or when your father gets home, whatever. Or she's out and about and a guy hits on her and he's creepy and he's got creepy vibes. And she tells him, hey, you know what? I'm not interested. But he keeps on pursuing. Hey, come on, give me your number, whatever. A woman will lie to that man and say that she already has a man. Mm-hmm. I'm already married. I already have a boyfriend. Some women literally wear wedding rings out in public because only a man can make another man fall into line. Right. So by her saying, hey, I'm already with a boyfriend or with a husband, that guy 9 times out of 10 will leave. Okay, cool. Because he doesn't want to have to deal with me walking up or you walking up. So when we take the man out of the equation, then we're taking the fear of repercussions a lot of times out of the equation. And then what happens is these boys, they're not prepared for the discipline and structure that's needed to be out in the workforce. And then when they leave mama's house and they go get a job and realize that the world don't give two effing shits about you.
Yep.
And mama can't save you anymore. And I don't care why you were 6 minutes late. Don't do it again or else. A lot of times these guys are not prepared mentally for the repercussions of what life will beat them down with, metaphorically. Right. So that's why I think that it's so important for men to be a part of their children's lives, and more importantly, a part of the nuclear family. But in this podcast, what I'm going to do the best I can with is I'm going to dive in, I guess, to the multitude of factors that contribute to this phenomenon. I'm going to aim to like unravel the intricate emotional tapestry of men. And by understanding the factors that we're going to talk about, we can foster a society in which, despite the individual, despite the gender, despite whatever, maybe understanding why men can't express will give them a safer way, or maybe encouraging them to express their emotions, maybe a little bit more to the right people in the right circumstances.
Right,
because
the right way. Yeah.
you have to let out the steam a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think that creating a society where men can express feelings in the same way, at the same capacity as women, is the right answer. But I do think that creating a society where men can express their feelings to some degree, whether that be into therapy, whether it be in with their fathers, or, people who are not, it's not going to get thrown back at them. Men need that. So there's a balance point, man. And I don't know exactly where that balance point all of a sudden kind of falls, but there's certainly a balance point to that.
Wait, so you don't, I don't want to say me specifically, but you don't do your crying on the toilet at 2 a.m, thinking about all the pressures?
Oh, I never said I did that. No, I didn't say
okay,
that.
because I'm like, that's where I do my best emotional stuff, is on the can at 2 a.m. when the weights of the world are on me. And I do it like a man, alone by myself. Then I suck it up, wipe, flush, and get out and get back in the game.
You know what gets to me emotionally? This damn Instagram, man. If you like one page that has, those Instagram clips where it has the sad music in the background, and the AI guy is like reading some sort of like poetry or something, or some sort of like, hang in there, da 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 da, you're strong, whatever. You like or comment one of those, and your algorithms go crazy with it. And I'm sitting there watching like 47 of these things in a row. I'm like, oh my God, man, jeez,
Can't do it.
I'm reaching out to like girlfriends of like 20 years ago, going, I'm so sorry, I was a jerk to you. She's like, who the F is this? Nobody. But the biggest, you know what? I don't know if it's the biggest, but it's one of the bigger reasons why men don't express their feelings, Dwayne, is the fear of vulnerability.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're thought of as weak. I shared with you off air the one thing that gets me emotional in a sad way every single time. And there's actually video evidence of that at Universal Studios of that, along with everything else. It still works, and I don't even want to talk about it. But I express emotions, but I get made fun of for expressing those emotions.
What happens if you want to express emotions, via, I don't know, other forms, where you just want to be in touch with
your feminine side?
Maybe, I just want to, be a lover of animals.
I think Mike kind of hit on it here. Did we talk about how men not being able to express feelings drinking out of a cow cup, where cows are the most stoic creatures on the planet?
Oh, good old. And
my God.
But Pop Brandy's up there.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I tried with her.
Yes,
I tried.
If I was good enough to have any good cow jokes, I'd spit them out. But I've got nothing.
Yeah,
I've got absolutely nothing.
I got one Christmas one, but I'm saving that for the right time to do that one. Wow. Oh, hey, look, Sophie. Whoa, let's see.
Oh,
$20. Thank you.
Chat. We appreciate that, Sophie. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's going to go to helping someone on the Dad Talk Today channel for sure. So thank you, Sophie. She's an avid listener of the Big Show podcast. She's on a lot of times during the week. She's one of our favorite people. Sophie, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Speaking of fear,
yeah.
Actually, Sophie's previous comment, and we're not supposed to, do the same person over and over and over, but Dad wrote, Mom's talking belt on a leather strap, and she used it. I don't know about you, but like, I'm 51. My father's been dead for 13 years. I still wake up to the sound of my dad's belt, like in fear of his belt coming off. And
my dad had one of those belts that were so thick that had 3 holes.
Ooh, wow.
And you could hear that leather thing come out of his thing.
Yeah, he was like one finger with the belt thing. I mean, yeah, he wore the belt with the buckle and all that. He'd pop that one finger, that thing would be out there like a sword and just bring it in. And that kept you in line. Yeah, but I wake up still this day in a cold sweat, the sound of his belt. But again, I wouldn't have traded it for the world because it taught me, respect. It taught me to, keep my crazy in, not to do stupid stuff.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you if you could do it again and not take those beatings, would you?
No, I would definitely take those beatings because I was telling my oldest son a couple days ago. I was 14 or 15 years old. I turned into a teenager. I at that point I was in martial arts and I thought I was Billy Badass and everything. And I remember walking up to a guy much bigger than me, running my mouth. He punched me right in the face. I took it. I didn't go down. I just want to point that out. And I'm like, I felt it, and it clicked in that you don't run your mouth to people. You just shouldn't do that. And here I am, 30, 40 years later, I can still recount that story. And there have been times where I'm like, I'm not going to open my mouth.
And that goes back to the fear of loss, right? Or in this situation, a fear of pain, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Guys understand, and we always have understood that there's always a low-level threat of violence amongst men. If we're in a room full of men, we don't go too far across a line. We're not going to go and start wagging our finger in another man's face, insulting him, insulting his woman, insulting his career, insulting his whatever, because we know that men will take that shit outside and handle it like men. And even if you were Billy Badass and you could beat 9 out of 10 guys on the street, the fact that you're going to have to take a few punches on the jaw is enough for you to say, you know what, even when I win, I still got a black eye for 3 weeks I got to deal with.
Or you can't walk right for the rest of your life, or every bone in your body hurts.
Yeah, you accidentally break a finger, and yeah, you won the fight, but now your finger is jacked for the rest of your life over something that, if you had just kept your cool or shown a little more respect, you could have easily avoided it. So guys understand that a lot more than women do. And this is not a woman bashing podcast. I'm just pointing out the differences because men have coddled women so much in our life that women are no longer in fear of being struck.
You said it.
If this was 100 years ago, a man would probably open slap his wife if she got crazy. And I'm not talking about just like because she spoke back. I mean, let's be honest. Men don't go around beating women. The amount of men who do that are so negligible that it's unfair for those women to say, well, I knew someone who he was in an abusive relationship with this man, and so I'm afraid of all men. The 99.99% of all the rest of us are going, come on, give me a break. If we applied that same logic, we would all never leave the house, for God's sakes, because I can't get in my car because I know someone who's gotten into a car accident one time. Right. So it's just like men are way more likely to protect a woman than they ever would to hurt one. But what you see decades of men doing the right things, and then these women get ballsy the way that kids get ballsy when their parents don't put a hand on their ass. They will. I've heard kids tell their mother to shut up in the middle of a grocery store. Yeah. And I'm like, I'll spank that little kid's ass, Yeah. But I guarantee you what you have there is you have a household that doesn't have any teeth. It's all bark and
no dad. Yeah, no dad.
No dad, and she's not putting her hand on his butt. And listen, she can raise her kid however the freak she wants to raise her kid, but she can't escape the repercussions of not putting her hand on a boy's butt every once in a while, and that is the embarrassment in the middle of a grocery store in front of 30 people all gasping, going, wow, you have no control over your kid. And then is that kid going to grow up to be a contributing member to society and be able to act right whenever the heat gets turned up in a boardroom? He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to break down. So, I don't want to go down a deep, dark path here, guys, but these are the things that I think about. And I go, hey, we are here because of these things that predated this event from happening. There's a common belief. Going back to men, there's a common belief that men showing emotions might lead to a loss of control over their personal or professional life. And that can be particularly daunting for those men who value strength and independence, because they will view emotional expression as a threat to their autonomy and self-sufficiency. So when women are going, hey, why don't these guys say something? Well, because if they get emotional, they know that they will lose this control over their professional life. People won't respect them as much. You don't see a bunch of emotional people outside of movies. You don't see a bunch of emotional people in boardrooms trying to move a multi-million-dollar business forward, and you got a bunch of emotional people there. They're usually very stoic. Even the females who reach the corporate ladder, the C-level executive females, they are masculine in nature.
They've learned the game.
They know the game, because they understand they will get eaten up by men if they are too emotional, and they will be deemed as, unworthy, or lead to a loss of promotion in their professional life if they show too many emotions. So it flows both ways, but it's definitely not socially acceptable for men to do it, because we're expected to be more stoic than our female counterparts. And also not only professional, but also the personal life, when it deals with his woman, or how she respects him, or how she feels comfortable being led by him. What woman wants to put a man in charge of the family that he can't control his anger? He can't control his emotions across the board. Everything spins this guy off center. I mean, could you imagine how scary it would be for females seeing the husband or the boyfriend or whoever she put in charge of leading? You don't know if this guy's going to be happy or sad today. You don't know if he's going to be jumping off of a roof onto his head, or if he's going to be charging into a flame. Like, you don't know what you're going to get with these guys. So fear of vulnerability is a huge reason why a lot of guys do not show expression. From a young age, boys, they're made to be socialized and adhere to traditional gender norms that discourage the open expressions of emotions. Societal expectations around masculinity often promotes qualities like stoicism, independence, and toughness, right? And that can create reluctance to express vulnerability. So that is a big reason why guys don't do it.
Yeah, well, okay. Imagine, ladies, imagine coming home, honey, I lost my job, or we got this huge bill, or whatever. We can't pay the electric bill this month, let's say, is the conversation. Do you want your man going, I got it, it's taken care of, and stoically fixing the issue, working two jobs, doing what he's got, locking down, getting the job done? Or do you want him to sit there and cry like a little baby and go, I don't know what to do, and sit and throw their hands up?
Yeah.
I mean, from the ladies, that's what happens all day long. From the men, it gets done. Yeah. I mean, men have traditionally been stuff gets done. And for the women that are out there going, that in my situation, well, you picked the wrong guy, because the guy that I am, the guy you are, the guy that the men that I'm around, I'm talking about men here, they're the ones that get stuff done. They do the best they can. They get the job done. Yeah. I would argue and hope that, my wife respects me. And if she were to come home and say, oh my God, the electric bill wasn't getting paid this month. Actually, she'll have some funny stories on that from her past life. But and I broke down and started crying like a baby, or said, you figure it out, or something like that. She would have zero respect for me.
Yeah.
She doesn't want that. She wants a man that goes, it's handled, got it taken care of.
And let me give a little insight to a man's mind to all my female viewers. Sometimes when you go to him with a problem, and it's a pretty decent sized problem, if your man looks at you and goes, okay, don't worry, I'll take care of it, and he walks off, I want you ladies to know that there are so many times he has no idea how he's going to fix that problem.
Oh, there was a time we actually know? Oh.
He just knows that the buck stops with him, and the expectation there is that it gets fixed. But oftentimes we will tell her with very much confidence and certainty that we got this, because we don't want you to have stress. We don't want you to have, worry in your life. But there's a lot of times that these guys out there, they don't know how they're going to get it done, but they just figure it out.
Let me start some smoke here. why is she coming to him with issues? Aren't they equal? Wait, that would imply that he's the leader of the house.
Yeah, that's
when
the
the buck,
implication.
because the buck stops with the leader, right? It doesn't keep going. It's not equal sharing.
Well, women want equal say so, but not equal responsibility. That's a lot
Drink
of
from your cow cup.
That's what I think.
Well, it's funny. I hear all these we'll say boss bitches. I got blah blah blah. No, I mean, and I'm equal in the house, and I'm this and that. Okay, and I'm using my household as an example. The buck stops with me. I'm the leader of this house. That's the way it is. And for the women that get all upset about that, well, when stuff hits the fan, who's the one taking care of it?
Yeah.
There's no equality in that moment. There's the man's taking care of it. And that's when I talk about men are the leaders of the house, that's what I'm talking about.
And ladies, be careful what you want, because if you want to run the household, there's some guys out there that let you run the household.
Knock yourself out.
Have at it. Go right ahead. I tell you what, I mean, we need to get back to the old days where women were praised for being stay-at-home moms and raising good quality kids. And gosh, I would love to be a breadwinning father where my wife is encompassing the legacy that her and I decided we want our kids to have, and the values that we want I don't want anybody else raising my damn kids over at La Petite or whatever those little daycare places are. We're paying someone to raise our kids. I want my main person, the one I love the most, the one I trust the most, raising my kids. That's my wife. I want her raising my kids.
So that's what I did. That was the household I had, but my wife being pulled, my first wife being pulled in by the feminazi nonsense, and I'm equal and I'm better than you, and all the other garbage that these idiots spew, thought that what she contributed, what she did was like better than me, not even equal, better, and caused all kinds of issues. And then of course that's changed quite a bit now, but we had that. But with all the laws that give women priority in divorces, it makes divorce so easy. They're like, well, I don't need you, because their brains can't process the same logic that men can. So they think they can, I'm unhappy, which again, 70% of all divorce is filed by women. 70% of the time is because they're unhappy. That's what they start doing.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's why, men have checked out largely. But I go back to, men are the leaders of the house. And that's one of the reasons why the buck stops with us. It's just the way it's always been.
And ladies, be careful what you're asking for, because some of you are in that situation where you got to be the man and the woman because you don't have any choice but to be. It's not you would prefer to be led by a good quality man, but for whatever reason you are not able to, and you're out there doing both. And let's be honest, are you happy? Are you truly happy? Right? Because if you want to lead, well, then the expectation of you leading will be the same as your expectation of us, which means that whenever shit comes and chaos rears its ugly head towards us, you've got to figure it all out, and then you cannot be emotional while doing it.
And you can't cry, and you can't be getting government support and child support, and you can't be doing all the stuff or getting a hold of your daddy to help out, or the boyfriend of the week or whatever. No, you want to be a boss bitch, be a boss bitch. Yeah. Otherwise, you're playing house.
And whenever you become this happens a lot at work too. You guys will know exactly what I'm saying here in a second. Mm-hmm. Whenever you get really good at what you do at work, it's almost like you pigeonhole yourself to where you can't be promoted because they can't afford to take you out of your position because you're too damn good. Mm-hmm. Well, the same thing kind of happens to men whenever we are in our masculine and we are getting stuff done. Many other people will come to us for our problem-solving abilities to get stuff done. And General Miller puts this comment here. He says he gets emotional when he's overwhelmed because everyone wants him to solve their problems.
Yeah.
First time he says no, he's the bad guy, though.
General Miller, get comfortable with that. I tell people nowadays no all the time, and I'm the bad guy, and I don't care. Just throwing it out there. Yeah. Bunch of personal behind-the-scenes stuff and a whole bunch of other things, but you got to be okay with being the jerk and tough. You got to take care of yourself, because at the ripe age of 51, you got to take care of yourself. Got to be okay saying no.
Jeff Thompson spitting some knowledge here. Wish more women understood what a privilege is to have someone leading. I mean, ain't that the damn truth?
Yeah, and again, I'm assuming we're speaking to a largely Christian audience here. That's the way it is in the Bible.
Yeah.
And your job is to pick a good, godly Christian man to lead your household. I mean, that's where you have that, ability to do that, out there doing the Arby's, whatever thing and all that stuff. Yeah, you find a good quality man and you want him to, that's why when you get married, that's what you're doing. I mean, you're agreeing to the covenants and you're agreeing that he will lead the house. And it's not, we're buying Folgers over Sanka brand. He's leading the house. He's got the rule. He's going to basically set the family up for the best success because he should have the family's desires and wants at the core, not the family's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing. Men will sacrifice their personal wants and needs to make sure their family is taken care of. I mean, that's a Tuesday.
Men, how many times have you gone without so the way she can go with?
Every day.
More than you can. Come on. And when Dwayne says we're not talking about Folgers over Fanta, what he's referring to was it Fanta?
Sanka.
Sanka. Yeah, the old cheap coffee. I remember that stuff.
Yeah.
What Dwayne's referring to is that even though the man leads, it's not like he's making all the decisions. What Dwayne's alluding to is the fact that, and we've talked about this on previous podcasts, women make about 80% of all the decisions in the household. So this is not a, do what I say and you just follow my lead. I mean, women are going to be making the large majority of all the decision making in the household. But when it comes to the big, huge rocks, the things like the culture of the family or the finances or the careers or the friends and family being around our inner circle are being influenced on our family, maybe our religious beliefs a man's supposed to lead religiously, right?
Yep.
The health of the family, things like that. Those are the things that Dwayne's referring to when men want to be in control of those, because those are going to be ultimately the make or break of the family, not what kind of K-cup she decided to buy from the store for coffee that week. The only thing that truly matters is you have the right coffee cup.
And add a little more biblical knowledge for the folks. But do you know when it comes to judgment? And again, I don't want to get too philosophical because there's different beliefs on here.
Preach on, Lord. Preach on.
Preach on, yeah. Do you know who stands for the family? Who has to answer for the family? The man.
I mean, that's the man.
The man. I'm responsible when it comes, decision time and discussion time.
And I've said this oftentimes. It is not always, speaking for men, it's not always our fault why things happen, but it is our responsibility.
Right.
So be careful if that's what you really want, because leadership comes with a lot of expectations and responsibility. If you guys are football fans, you're seeing it as we unfold this football week with some teams out there that are not doing really well. Bill Belichick comes to mind right now. He just lost again today. I think they are 3-10, 3-11. I don't know. But this guy is arguably one of the best football coaches of all time. I think he has 6 Super Bowl rings and 15, playoff. He's a phenomenal. But the last 3 years, he hasn't had a winning season. And this guy, is it his fault that he doesn't have Tom Brady and Gronkowski and all these great players? No. I mean, the chances are there are people that are above him making decisions on trading people and whatever. But it's still his responsibility, and he's probably going to get cut or fired for not performing. So, it's just, I think a lot of men understand that. I just wanted to just express that. But going on to some other reasons why men don't express their feelings is because of societal expectations and stereotypes. Societal norms and expectations, they exert like a profound influence on how individuals express their emotions, particularly for men, because societal standards, they often discourage them from embracing their sensitivity, expressing feelings openly, because it tends to promote an image of men as, society, when they say, well, how should a real man act? It's oftentimes you see this image of a unemotional or stoic type of personality. And that stereotype has become deeply embedded in many cultures over time. And I'm not saying that it should not be that way. I'm saying that the most masculine, the guys who are leaders, they tend to have those, traits about them. They're unemotional, they're stoic. And when women brag about being emotionally intelligent, I will push back and say that men are way more emotionally intelligent than women, because to be intelligent means that you must have an understanding of things around you.
The big picture.
The whole big picture. Like there's a competency there. And if women express their emotions far more than men express their emotions, then who's really more emotionally intelligent? The sex that expresses their emotions and they can't control them, or the sex that is stoic and unemotional, even though they all have the same emotions. So I push back on the emotional intelligence. I think that a lot of men actually do have emotional intelligence. Not all, but most. This cultural expectation, it's led many men to construct a self-imposed barrier against emotional expression. They fear judgment. They fear rejection. They like if they deviate from that normal, right? Mm-hmm. And consequently, this societal pressure suppresses emotional openness and vulnerability in men, and it hinders their ability to communicate their feelings effectively. So it's like men are oftentimes, more now than ever, trying to find where that balance point is of letting some out, but not letting too much out. Because if you let too much out, we know what happens. We don't prosper at work. We don't prosper in our relationships. The world sees us differently, but then we can't be too stoic. It's really hard. And depending on where a boy lives in the world, in some societies, there are expectations for men to be reserved and less emotional expressive than other places in the world. And these cultural expectations can be deeply ingrained in hold on. What was that? To the cow cup guy.
You're no longer Jimmy. You're the cow cup guy.
I mean, I'm not the host of the podcast. I'm the cow cup guy now.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So, communication styles, men and women on average, they have different communication styles, right? Some men prefer, action-oriented or problem-solving approaches to dealing with emotions rather than verbal expression. And this difference between men and women in their communication styles, they greatly impact how men share their feelings. Other reasons why men will be a little bit gun shy to share them is because of lack of emotional literacy. Emotional literacy, which accompanies the ability to identify, comprehend, and express emotions in a healthy way, is often an area where men struggle a lot. This struggle can stem from like a lack of emotional education or exposure during their developmental years. When men lack emotional literacy, they can find it very challenging to articulate their feelings effectively. And that leads to a lot of problems in relationships. This difficulty can lead them to suppress or ignore their emotions, as they may not have the necessary tools to handle the constructive conversations that need to happen. And consequently, this lack of emotional literacy can contribute to the observed reluctance among men to express their emotions openly. So again, if you give too much as a man emotionally, we know how you're seen. If you swing the pendulum back the other way and you suppress your emotions too greatly, you lack emotional literacy. You now have not done the work needed to vent or channel your emotions in a constructive, communicative way to where you don't get crazy, but you are constructive. And so you have this dynamic of either guys are way on this end or guys are way on that end. And it's just not very happy on either end of those respective, perspectives.
Where would you put yourself, like on the emotional maturity scale, like 1 to 10? 10 being most mature, 1 being,
me personally.
Yeah. Ralph Cramden, or I don't know who would be a 10. Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. I think that I've got a pretty good grasp on my emotions. I'm not saying I don't get taken off center from time to time. I say that I would probably grade myself a 7 or an 8.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I communicate my emotions, my thoughts, my wants, my desires, my expectations pretty well. But depending on which ex you get on the phone will probably depend on, where on that scale she thinks that I actually land. I think that most of my exes will say, you know what, I agree with Jimmy. He's a 7, 8, some will say I'm a 9, some will say I'm a 6 or whatever. And then there's, one every once in a while that goes, oh, this guy, he was always on me for this. And he was always blah, blah, blah. Well, that's because I'm trying to control an unruly, uncooperative, masculine girl that I should probably have put back on the street, and I probably give her way more chances than she needs. And, guys, look, let me share this advice with you. And again, most of you guys know this, women, you guys know this. If you have this scale, right? And over here is you're a complete angel, and over here you're a complete devil. We'd all like to think that we are a little more towards the angel side on that spectrum than we are the devil side, right? And most of us are. But we all can, if we were honest with each other, we could be some freaking devils if we want to. And we've shown our devil side, all of us. And we've shown our angel side, where we've went above and beyond for people more than they actually deserve. And then we've clapped back on people and showed them a side of we've shown some people a side of us that they never thought we actually had inside of us. They pushed us to a limit, and they saw a side of us that they never knew existed, but always had. The point I'm trying to make is that who you allow in your inner circle, especially the spouse that you choose, will greatly affect on that scale where you will eventually end up. I have been top ranked boyfriend at times, and I've been bottom boyfriend at times. I've been proud of myself, and I've not been proud of myself. And a lot of it has to do with who I allow in my inner circle, because the wrong spouse will turn a side of you, buddy, that you never knew existed. Right? So,
reach on,
guys. While I'm thinking, actually, Dwayne, can you tell people to like and share while I drink?
Oh yeah, drink from your cow. Yeah, like, share, subscribe. Actually, we got a Sophie did a donation night. Much appreciated. I'm sure it will go to. I think we're doing the father or parent drive for Christmas presents for parents that are unable to afford them for their kids. I think that may go into that. I'm not sure how they're doing that part of it. But yeah, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Again, also mentioning we got a lot of big things coming up. Of course, it's all top secret. But a lot of big things coming here in the 2024 year that we need definitely people to look out for. It's going to be pretty cool.
I can't wait to share it.
I know. It's one of those, there's so much I want to say and all that. But yeah, it's coming soon.
Me, Dwayne, and Eric have been working really hard behind the scenes, guys. We got some good stuff for you in 2024. So you guys make sure you stay tuned. While I'm thinking about it, reasons why guys may not express their feelings, besides being in fear of the repercussions, besides being unable to from lack of emotional literacy, is lack of role models.
Yeah.
I think, when doing the research for this particular podcast and this particular topic, I'm often disappointed hearing the advice of some writers when it comes to men and their feelings. Like when I'm researching stuff and I'm researching men's feelings, and I'm reading these articles of some psychiatrists, some people who are just authors. I'll be honest, I'm pretty disappointed on the particular views of some of these people. It's common knowledge for many that women simply do not understand men or what men actually want or need.
Or they refuse to. That's another thing too. It seems like they intentionally don't want to understand men.
And they don't have to be, right? Because women attract men effortlessly. So there's no reason for women to try to understand men. They simply pick the men they like and they go from there. But the smart women out there understand that sexual attention and relationship-minded attention from men are two different things.
Yep.
When I was doing the research on the lack of male role models and how the effects of this correlates to men's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
This is what one writer wrote. Okay. And I quote, limited representation of emotionally expressive men in media and popular culture can contribute to the perpetuation of stereotypes. The absence of positive role models who openly share their feelings may make it challenging for men to feel comfortable doing the same. So what this person, think about what this person said. The reason why they think that men are struggling with emotions is because this particular author said that they felt that the absence of positive role models who openly share their feelings may make it challenging for men to feel comfortable doing the same. She thinks that if we had more role models that expressed feelings, then that would encourage other men to openly do the same, and that would make culture better for everybody.
Better.
And I'm sitting there saying, do some people just completely ignore history altogether? Point back in history, and you've got hundreds of thousands of years of data you can go back to. Name me one time in the history of mankind where we've had a society where men openly expressed their feelings and that society prospered.
Yeah, I remember like World War II when they were getting ready to hit land and do all that. They had like a cry session right before they jumped in and did that. If I remember history correctly.
That's right.
Battle Bulge.
Yeah. We'd all hold hands in a circle and we go, I know we don't feel like doing this, but let's do it. It's just I cringe when I read the advice that some people give on men. And I just go, my goodness, do women understand men at all? So the argument of this particular writer that I just quoted on why men express their feelings differently than women is because there's a lack of emotionally expressive men in pop culture. This is another example of how women give bad advice.
Oh, yeah.
Women, man, I'm going to get heat for this. I don't give a shit. Women don't raise good men. They never have. It takes a man to raise a boy into a man.
Yeah.
Women raise feminine men, and then they complain about the men that they raised. If you were to raise a boy to be a man and put him in front of male role models that expressed their emotions the way that this author suggested, what would be the outcome?
Guys crying like little bitches when they have to work 6 hours, 6 hour shift at Starbucks.
We'd get more of the beta men that we see today.
Yeah.
It would be the opposite of the role models that boys looked up to for hundreds of years. The opposite of the role models that we respected growing up. Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Norris, Seagal, Van Damme, Tyson, Harrison Ford, Churchill, Ali, Denzel Washington, Bond, Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, Chris Hemsworth, he's a stud, and many others. Were those men emotionally expressive?
No. Yeah, no, they got stuff done. They didn't cry or any of that stuff. They got it done.
Outside of their competitive nature, those men were in control of their emotions. And they were in control of their emotions during very stressful times. Even in the face of adversity or life and death, they remained stoic, composed, and focused. So the lack of male role models in the household has been, in my opinion, the number one reason we live in this backwards society of today. Boys and girls have always, up to about 40 years ago, been raised differently.
Yeah.
And when fathers are not around to raise their sons, the mothers raise them similar to how they raise their daughters. What do you expect the outcome to be? How many times I hear women say, there's no masculine men anymore? It's the number one gripe that I get from women whenever I'm counseling them.
They've had primary care of kids for 40 years. They're mostly females in the schools, obviously mostly females in the household. I mean, they've removed men, but then they're whining that, there are no strong men. And then of course, you talked there, and there's so many stories of, kids losing their minds at the grocery store around their mother, and their mother just can't control them at all. I mean, I could talk personal experience with friends and family members that are in those scenarios, and I don't know what to do with him. He doesn't. My kid doesn't listen to me, because you don't have a man in the house. You don't have his father in the house raising him and teaching him, don't do this, do this. This is how you do stuff. And then they complain. That's one of the many things I sit up at night and just drives me nuts, because these same women that'll complain about it, but they also removed their husbands and the father figure from the kid's life, but they want to complain that they've got nothing, or it's so hard, or they can't do this, and why won't their kids listen to them, and all that nonsense. And I'm like, you do know who I am, and what I've dealt with, what I've been doing for the last 10 years and all my research, and I've told you this, and you don't want to listen to it. Right. That's why this is happening, and it kills me.
It's childhood upbringing. The upbringing of boys plays a crucial role in their ability to express their emotions later in life. From an early childhood, societal norms often dictate that boys suppress their feelings, as emotional expression is inaccurately associated with weakness. Common phrases like "boys don't cry" further reinforce this misconception, suggesting that emotional vulnerability is incompatible with masculinity. And to some degree, I can understand why people say that, but there has to be a balance point. Fathers understand this balance point very well, as they've had to navigate balancing for themselves as they grew into men. Another reason why guys have a hard time with expressing feelings is because of their incompetence and discomfort. Men often express or experience discomfort when expressing strong emotions, which may arise from a sense of incompetence or unfamiliarity. This discomfort can largely be traced back to societal norms that discourage men from showing emotions. When faced with strong emotions, men feel out their depth due to this lack of practice and ingrained belief. Over time, discomfort can create a cycle where men can avoid emotional expression altogether, reinforcing incompetence in handling emotions. So it's just like this tug of war that happens. Men sometimes fear being stigmatized or judged if they express certain emotions. Concerns about appearing weak, less competent, or deviating from traditional gender roles can contribute to an openly sharing feelings.
Imagine you're in a boardroom or any type of meeting, you guys are talking about business, and the dude breaks down crying. What would you immediately think?
Gosh, weakness.
Exactly. Yeah, you're incompetent. You're nothing. Get them the hell out of here.
I mean, it's a war out there, and you gotta be composed. If men show emotions, there'd be higher. We would lose wars. We'd be speaking German right now if these masculine men didn't control their emotions. Another reason too is because men in today they're in fear of showing mental health concerns.
Oh God, yeah.
Men are generally observed to display fewer overt signs of mental health issues compared to women, and they're also less likely to discuss these concerns openly. This tendency, it can be attributed to expectations and norms that discourage men from expressing their emotions freely. And when women experience depression, they often express it more openly, which can lead to a greater societal acceptance of emotional vulnerability in women. Conversely, though, men might conceal their feelings, including symptoms of depression, as a result of the pressure to appear strong and unemotional. So, these are valid reasons that men are unable to express their feelings, and why most don't as compared to women. And the truth is that men do need to express them, maybe not as much, but if men want to attract the attention and respect of their women while still being able to handle stress, threats, and challenges, then they're going to, have to have that high level of emotional discipline. The challenge is the obvious. There has to be some way of talking about challenges and letting off steam. Men can't bottle it up, because if they do, when they pop, they often make very bad decisions that result in damaged relationships, anger issues, and jail time. So that said, let's switch gears real quick and talk about a few ways that men can express their feelings while still remaining manly and masculine. To find that balance point.
Get your notebooks out.
Huh?
Get your notebooks out.
Get them out, because I'm going to do the best I can. Like, now that we've talked about why men don't, let's get to fixing it.
Yeah.
How do we find that balance point that is healthy and productive for men? So, in navigating the balance between maintaining stoicism and embracing emotional expression, men can cultivate a sense of resilience and strength while still acknowledging and sharing their feelings, but in a healthy manner.
Mm-hmm.
You have to recognize that emotional well-being is not directly opposed to masculinity. Rather, it's an integral aspect of overall health and self-awareness. And here's some suggestions for men to maintain stoicism while expressing their feelings in a constructive way. Okay. Number one, try to, as men, develop emotional awareness. Foster a deep understanding of your emotions without feeling compelled to display them outwardly. This internal awareness allows for a more intentional and measured approach to emotional expression. So develop an emotional awareness. Then cultivate trusted relationships. That's important for men.
Yeah.
To identify a circle of trusted friends, families, partners, with whom you can feel comfortable sharing your feelings. Establish strong connections can provide a supportive environment for open communication without compromising a sense of masculinity. But you can't do it with everybody.
Right.
You have to cultivate trusted relationships.
Because they can use that against you later, right, which is one of the reasons why you don't confide in your spouse, usually male to female, because I don't know if it was brought up yet, but females will use, I think, I hope we talked about it, because this is a big one why men don't do it, is women will then use your vulnerability against you in a later argument, fight, or whatever.
It will absolutely get brought up. And if you want to piss a man off, is remind him that he showed a little weakness.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Call him a real man. Yeah. Ladies, take if you were a real man vocabulary and remove it.
Please.
Unless you want to just really piss us off.
Please stop, ladies. Sorry. Please stop. A woman does not know what it takes to be a real man. Okay. They don't.
I don't know what a real woman is half the time. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
So Dwayne's right. You want to cultivate trusted relationships, but one of them cannot be your spouse. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There's certain things that you share with your spouse. You're supposed to share, a number of things. That type of stuff, no.
Yeah.
That's a big no.
Good friends, a health professional, your pastor, war buddies,
Dad Talk Today support group.
There you go.
Anonymous posting. Yep.
Yep. Another thing too is practice mindfulness, like engage in mindfulness. Practices like that, you want to stay grounded. You want to stay present. Techniques like meditation can help stress or manage stress, provide an outlet for expressing emotions. So practice mindfulness.
Turning wrenches in a car.
Right. However you guys want to do your meditation, it could be watching wood burn in a fire, whatever.
Hunting.
Yeah. Find an outlet that you can practice this mindfulness. Get out of your own head. Another thing too is you could also articulate your feelings through writing. You can maintain a journal, articulate your thoughts, feelings privately.
Change the names and faces and places to protect the upcoming court case. If you're like Sally, I want to kill her,
Yeah,
right? Come back to haunt you.
writing can be a powerful tool for self-reflection and expression without the need for external validation. I'll share some with you. I write in a journal often. I have for the last 12 years. I have Word documents on this computer I'm looking at right now. That say 2009, 2010, 2011. And I go into that journal and I write the date and what's happened over the last few weeks. And I keep it updated all the way throughout the year. I'm about to open a new one for 2024. And
I drank from a cow cup today.
It helps. Today I was at TJ Maxx and I found the sweetest little cup and I just had to purchase it. So and half the shit I do, I just do it to piss him off anyhow. So
and it works every time.
It works. I mean, he's already mentioned my cow cup. I got people in the chat room blowing me up over here. Freaking newbies. I mean, this guy's a new one to the show. Already throwing stabs at me already.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. You'll fit right in. Seeking professional support. That's an obvious one. You know, if things get overwhelming, consider seeking the guidance of a mental health professional. You're not a weak dude for doing it, man. Therapy provides a confidential space to explore and express emotions in a supportive and non-judgmental environment.
Yeah.
You can express through creative outlets like art, music, writing, racing, like fixing cars, going hunting. We talked about that. Encourage open communication. You can foster an environment where your social circles that values open communications, can get together. Lead by example and sharing your own experiences. Yeah. Encourage others to do the same. I used to be a part of an all men's, church Bible study.
There you go.
And it was all men get together at a little bar every Thursday. There was anywhere between 5 and 15 of us would show up, on Thursdays. And, we talk about the Bible and Jesus and also our personal relationships. And it was a great way to sound off without being in fear of judgment, get good advice from other men who have went through it, and not feel like, you're lesser than for doing it, Another thing you can do also is you can set boundaries.
Oh, boundaries are a big one.
Yep. Understand and communicate personal boundaries when it comes to emotional expression. Like it ensures like a balance between maintaining a sense of privacy and also engaging in healthy communication. Boundaries is one that's not easy for a lot of people, but it's important. Yeah. Physical activity is another one. Engage in physical activity like sports. This could be a great way of releasing pent up emotions. Exercise not only contributes to overall well-being, but guys, for those of you who don't exercise, it provides an outlet for stress and tension. When I go a week or two without working out, my mind is not right. I become depressed. Sometimes I get sick. Sometimes I don't feel like doing anything. I don't only go to the gym for building my body. I go for my mind.
Right.
You will not believe how your body will not ever get sick. You don't catch the flu. You don't catch the cold. You don't catch stomach viruses. But take a few weeks off of the gym. You'll be laid up on your couch, sick like a dog. It's one of the best ways to stave off depression. Get your mind right. And if you can, provide a respected male role model. Only men truly understand how societal expectations of providing, grinding, and being a leader can affect the mindset and the overall health of other men. So talking with an older or wiser male role model may be the single best way out for all men to express their thoughts and get not only an understanding in return, but also great life advice. To remind these men that it's okay if you aren't perfect. that the men that you may look up to went through some life-altering challenges themselves. The men that you look up to, they've failed 100 times themselves and were still be able to get up and get back in the fight. Nothing can replace a father in this position, but if a father isn't an option for some of you guys, like it wasn't an option for me, then having respected male role models could be the second best option.
Yeah, we had I was at a Christmas party a couple days ago, as a matter of fact, and I was out there, by myself. I like to spend time by myself. This guy who he was in the member of Rotary. It was a Rotary Christmas party. He came out and was just kind of chatting with me, and next thing you know, he's talking about a divorce he went through a few years ago. And we sat there and talked for about 20, 30 minutes or whatever. And at the very end, he goes, dude, I have been to therapy. I have done this. I've done all these different things. And in talking to you for it was like 10, 20, whatever minutes, I feel a million times better. You provided answers. I was able to talk to you and you understood. I would say she did this or this happened in court or whatever. And you're like, yep. And, I'd rattle off data or whatever I did. And he's just like, oh my God, I feel like a whole new man now because I've been carrying all this nonsense and garbage for years. And just that 20-minute conversation, he felt like a new man. And, it was great, kind of a encounter. And that's, one of the things that we have this show for is, we want people to, one, not only get fed, but be able to feed other people. The information you get from Jimmy and the, examples, the stories, the information, hopefully it puts you in the right mindset to when you go out there into the real world, you can be that mentor for somebody. And anybody can be a mentor. It doesn't need to be someone that's been doing this for 50 years and has all this, whatever. You can be that person. You're going to be that person that can be someone line that where they're going through it and you can say, oh yeah, I went through that. Or even if you didn't, you guys can go through it together. But, having that, being that mentor and talking with people, great experience.
Guys, particularly the men that are listening to this right now, that are going through a hellish shitstorm of a time in your life. You're down and out.
Mm-hmm.
Things are not going well. You feel like giving up. Have you ever left room for the possibility that the reason why you're going through this right now is because God is expecting you to be the absolute person that helps hundreds of people after you not give up?
It's got me through a night or two.
We're waiting for you. And here's what I mean. How powerful would it be if you got the advice from someone who's never had it tough? Would it weigh as heavy? Would you respect the advice as much if the guy had an easy life where his wife and his kids were perfect and his job was perfect and all these things? Or would you respect him more, respect the advice more? If you found a guy that you felt was intelligent, wise, you respect him as a man, and you found out all the shit that he had to go through. And then you listen to his story and you go, how in the world did you make it through that? How? I would have given up.
Mm-hmm.
Why? How? And then he says to you, this is the reason. Would you not respect him more? I say that to say this. If you're going through it right now, have you not left any room for the possibility that we've been waiting on you? We've been waiting on you.
Yep.
Get on up, get your life back in line, and then teach people after you. Throw the rope back. It's always the worst stories make for the best endings on some people's success stories. You could be that very person who everyone else who's growing up after you is needing you, your story, your challenges. They need to hear how you've made it through to help them make it through. In conclusion, the reasons why men find it hard to express their feelings as openly as women do are multifaceted and complex, right? Reject the new world beta ideology that tells you to teach your boys to be emotionally expressive and that it can help us create a more empathetic society where everyone feels comfortable expressing their emotions regardless of gender. No. It's high time we challenge the societal norms that equate to emotional expression with weakness and encourage open, honest communications about feelings, right? That kind of ideology doesn't work, hasn't worked. Look around you.
Turn the news on.
It creates weak men, and weak men create hard times. Weak men are not useful. Dangerous men who have their emotions completely under control are useful. Weak men are not dangerous. They're harmless. And harmless men are not useful. They're liabilities. Although I do agree that emotions are an inherent part of being human, finding that balance point, using the ways I described earlier, allows men to acknowledge them, finding that balance point, which does not diminish his strength or his value. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Big Show. This is our 40th episode. Thank you so much for everyone. So some of you guys are just disciplined in you tuning in every single Sunday. You know, there are people from all across the world that it's in the middle of the night right now and they're tuning in. And I just want you to know that we support you. We care about you. We think about you. We appreciate you. If you feel this podcast can help someone, share it with them. Don't keep us a secret. You have our permission to share it. The Big Show podcast is here every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And we'll be back here next week with another great topic for you guys to be entertained. Until then, you guys have a great week. Enjoy your Christmas while it lasts, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.